Greetings, my kindred spirits, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. It's your host, Anita the Healer, back again to bring you some more informative information to help you release your limiting beliefs, as well as give you some insights on how you can heal yourself. Okay, now let's get started. Okay, so what I want to do, or usually what my process is, I like to define what certain terms are before I get into the topic. So, of course, as the title states, we're going to discuss emotions, feelings, and the heart chakra. Now, I wanted to discuss emotions and feelings because, coming up, we get it confused. I at least got it confused. Maybe some of you out there were taught at a young age the difference between emotions and feelings. And for those who don't know the difference between emotions and feelings, I'm going to share this information with you. I'm going to give you an excerpt from Dr. Bran, I believe his name is Dr. Bran Farnsworth. He's a PhD. Yeah, Dr. Bran Farnsworth. And I'm going to get into a portion of the emotional state that brings about emotions. Did I say that clear? I hope I did. So let's talk about emotions, or let's define emotions and get into a little technical information about emotions. And then we will define and get into the technical state of feelings. So, emotions are defined as a natural instinctive state of mind deriving from one's circumstances, mood, or relationships with others, or an instinctive or intuitive feeling as distinguished from reasoning or knowledge. Now, let's get into the technical portion of it. So, emotions are lower level responses occurring in the subcortical regions of the brain. For example, the amygdala, and I'll put a picture up here for you so that you will know what the heck is a amygdala. Is that some kind of animal? Well, if that animal is a human beast, which is part of the limbic system, and you see where the arrow is pointing to the amygdala. And as I stated, it is a part of the limbic system and the neocortex, the ventral medial prefrontal cortices, which deal with conscious thoughts, reasoning, and decision making. Those responses create biochemical and electrical reactions in the body that alter its physical state. Technically speaking, emotions are neurological reactions to an emotional stimulus. So, did you know the amygdala plays a key role in emotional arousal? It can regulate the release of neurotransmitters in the hippocampus area, an area central to memory consolidation. One theory is that this is why emotional memories are usually perceived as stronger and are so long lasting. Can emotions be measured? Emotions are physical and instinctive. Remember that definition I stated earlier? Instantly promoting bodily reactions to threat, reward, and everything in between. The bodily reactions can be measured objectively by pupil dilation or eye tracting, skin conductance, brain activity, heart rate, and facial expressions. Okay, so let's define feelings. Okay, so feelings, it says, are an emotional state or reaction or a belief, especially a vague or irrational one. Okay, so let's see what Dr. Brian Farnsworth stated about this. And mind you, this is not just him saying, this is based on research. So, of course, I'm giving you one person's view, but as I always state, do your own research. Come to know for yourself. This is just my research I've done for you and consolidated it into this video for you, okay? So now, let's talk about the technical parts of feelings. While emotions are associated with bodily reactions that are activated through neurotransmitters and hormones released by the brain, feelings are the conscious experience of emotional reactions. Do you understand that? Okay, so originating in the neocortical regions of the brain, feelings are sparked by emotions and shaped by personal experiences, beliefs, remember that definition, memories, and thoughts linked to that particular emotion. Strictly speaking, a feeling is the side product of your brain perceiving an emotion and assigning a certain meaning to it. Let's get a little bit more technical. Interestingly, this process works both ways. While the actual encounter with a spider, which could be a stimulus, might freak you out, just thinking of it can activate the same emotional response. So let's just say, like, you see a spider, and just from seeing that spider, whatever experience you've seen, or if you've never, children, they don't understand certain things, um, what they see, children will investigate it. They're curious and they reach for it, and then they reach for the spider bites them, it creates an emotional response, and then you have some type of feeling about that. It could be a feeling of fear now. I fear spiders. You understand? So can feelings be measured? Well, Dr. Farnsworth says the conscious nature of feelings makes it quite easy to measure them using self-reporting tools such as interviews, surveys, and questionnaires, including rating scales and self-assessment procedures. So basically what it's saying that in order to measure a person's feelings, there's a number of tools that are used, such as it stated, interviews, surveys, and questionnaires, with a rating from 1 to 10. On a scale from 1 to 10, how do you feel? Whereas emotional Emotions can be measured just by your eye tracking, heart rate, skin conductance. So, we're going to move on from there and we're going to talk a little more about emotions and feelings. All right? Let's get to it. Okay, welcome back. So, we defined emotions, we defined feelings. We went into both technical sides of dealing, um, differentiating emotions and feelings. So, what I want to discuss to you is some presuppositions as well as some observations and analysis that I have observed based on my knowledge and my wisdom. And not just my knowledge and wisdom, but also through research. Again, disclaimer, do your own research so you will know for yourself. And if you prefer to just go on based on my research and what I am stating to you, that is fine too. Because even if this subject comes up again within your surroundings, you can blame it on me. But we're going to get into that too. Who's to blame? So, a lot of times we presuppose. Presupposing is assuming. That's why it is best to always do your research. Now, when I say research, in all cases, you can't. Okay, I take that back. In all cases, you cannot do research by going on to Google. So, in some of those all cases, let's split it up. Some of those cases, you can do your research by going into the internet. Some of them you have to read books. And in some of those situations, you have to question. You have to use tools like interviews, surveys. Okay? I hope I haven't lost you. So, what I mean is, in some situations, you can, instead of assuming by going on what someone says or what you've heard, what you see, or a person's action, in some cases, you can read about it, you can Google it. In other cases, you might have to delve a little deeper by approaching the situation, interviewing and questioning it. Because presupposing about a situation based on your observation and your analysis alone can sometimes lead to hypothesis. And hypotheses are like theories. They're not proven. Okay? Remember that. Okay, so hypothesis is evidence that has not been proven. Theories are the same thing, yet they are, let's say, propositions that are leading up to studying and getting proof of those propositions. So I hope I haven't lost you because I'm trying to make things very clear to you so you can understand the difference between emotions and feelings and how we interact with one another. So in our interactions with one another, sometimes we assume, we presuppose, and that presupposing is based on your own analysis by itself, not fully observing and not fully doing your research. And when I state this research doesn't necessarily mean you have to go to the library and write a paper and read lots of books and Googling. Sometimes your research can involve standing there with the other person or within a situation or group of people and asking questions, interviewing to find out. That's another tool to use. So the example of the child and the spider, and the child grabbing at the spider because they're curious, they don't know, they probably want to taste it, and get bit and feel that pain from the spider. Feeling that pain or that bodily reaction from the spider, that's an emotion. And then the emotions can bring on feelings, how you feel about that. With some people, knowing that this thing can bite brings about fear. Having to eventually overcome those fears. Okay? It records a memory. Now, if you watch my video prior to this one about the mind, the mental state, and the crown chakra, that goes into breaking down the differences of each. The mind, the mental, and the crown chakra. So what I am here to help you understand is how we process our emotions. All right? Because some of us utilize it very immaturely because you don't understand, withstand, and stand to know. It is very important. That might sound crazy to you, but if you really listen to me, to gather true inner standing for yourself, you will come to know how to heal yourself and how to deal with situations outside of yourself. So, as I stated, in certain situations you have to question, survey, interview. You have to observe and pay attention to how you're feeling. Because sometimes how you're feeling may not be the same feeling as another. Like I stated in the video in regards to the mind, mental state, and crown chakra, all of us process mentally differently. But you truly have to gather and see and know that your likes, how you feel, may not be processed the same way as another person. So this is why we state it is best to respect another person's boundaries because they have a world of their own. And yet and still you have those who are still going through the learning process of understanding what's outside of themselves. They're trying to process their environment. It goes without saying You have those individuals who will manipulate someone who's in that learning process. And then eventually they become manipulators. Certain influences that we have in our environment can be detrimental. So then, too, you have to even understand the development of a child and how it's so delicate. You have to realize the mental state, the mind, the emotional state, the feelings of those who are just starting out in life. Understand those influences. Understand the habits, the training, the programming that's being imposed upon another, even in regards to yourself. You can't just, how you say, diagnose, or you can't judge a person based on their present state and what you just see right there and then. It goes deeper than what you see. Why, how a person is, who a person is, what a person is, when they became. You have to go to the root cause of a situation. So, a lot of times we judge a situation, process a situation, observe and analyze a situation based on feelings. That stimulus, what that stimulus gave us emotionally to derive to why we feel a certain way. Once you come to truly understand my research and why I am taking it so far to this point, I'm doing this because when I realize why we react the way we react, I decided I want to share this information. This is golden information. People don't even realize that they act the way they act is based around influences, programmings, and habits that may not belong to them. These influences, programs, and habits were imposed upon us through the manipulation of a system and society we call institutions, media, marketing, whether they're business marketing or whether they were personal marketing, because there is a such thing, marketing yourself in regards to getting to know one another on a personal relationship. So in understanding or understanding why we are the way we are is based on somebody else's thinking. Sometimes we get these thinkings, as I stated, through media, other people's influences, institutions, things that trend. What's trending? That's a marketing concept on what's trending. So we have to get to the point in our life where we process not only from a mental standpoint, because the mental and the emotional goes hand in hand. They work together because you have to use both. Yes, you have to. because I don't care what another thinks. They don't have emotions. You have emotions based on outside environmental surrounding stimulus. And those stimulus affect you emotionally, which allow you to derive to how you feel about things. So when talking to another person, you're processing this mentally and emotionally to derive at certain feelings, to bring you to how you feel, what you think. And even your own thinking and feelings can fool you. They can be deceiving. How is that? Because if you base what you think and what you feel on your analysis of what you've observed in the stimulus you receive from another person or a group, depending on the situation, you could be wrong. Those those deceptions we call presuppositions or assuming. That's why it's very important at the moment you're in the situation, in the discussion, and you're listening, it is best to, when you get to that point, you ask. You ask questions so that what you're thinking and how you're feeling will not deceive you. You do not want to be deceived by your own feelings and thinking due to your influences, your programming, training, or what you were taught in regards to certain values and beliefs. So sometimes based on your beliefs, just know your beliefs and values are yours. They're not the other person. You have different cultures of people. You have different upbringing of people. And in different cultures, they are trained, programmed to believe and value a certain way. Different households, they are trained, programmed to believe and value things a certain way. And even if it is not true of who they are, it's not their authentic selves, it's still their boundaries. It is their truth and belief and values for right now until they're ready to change that and tap into their authenticity. Okay? Just because you were raised, you were cultivated or culminated, you were programmed, trained, taught to value things a certain way, believe things, suppose things, assume things a certain way, does it make it right? It doesn't. Because there's an authentic you that came here with another purpose that when you're born into this world, sometimes you forget. And sometimes it's okay to go through that process of programming, influence, just to come back to the beginning to know who you truly are and your purpose and mission here. Because some of us get lost and get off track and off our path and who we truly are. Some of us, because of these influences, training, manipulations, programming, whatever you want to call it, because it is, it's a manipulation. And manipulation may not be a bad thing. It's just the word manipulation and how you were manipulated. Could be manipulated in a good way or manipulated in a bad way. You know, there's will. Positive, masculine will, negative, feminine will. And doesn't necessarily say that negative is bad. It's an energy that's utilized that helps us decide between the two and how to utilize those energies. Those are just energies. And if you still don't understand the energies and all you can think of is what you were taught, then maybe you need to go back and watch some of my videos to truly gather what I'm saying. Never start in the middle of a book. You can go to the end. You can go to the end. Who am I to tell you not to start in the middle? Sometimes people start in the middle just to get a feeling of what's going on at the beginning. Some people can perceive that way. So just know that when utilizing the mental and emotional in different situations, it's all about your perception, because those mental and emotional processes involve influences, beliefs, programming, training, what you were taught from the time you were a child. So you even have to understand another person's thinking. Just because you feel, oh, they're an adult, they should know better. That's not necessarily true. Stop assuming that you know because a person is an adult that they know what they're doing. It's not true. You're blaming without knowing. And that takes me back to who's to blame, especially if you don't know. We blame others for our own suffering. You're the cause for my heartache. So if you don't see the signs in the beginning, you don't understand the signs, who's to blame? At that moment, yeah, we tend to blame another person because we don't understand. We don't know what to do. We don't know where to turn to know how we got to this point. So we point the finger at another person. But your upbringing, your influences probably did not come from that person. And why you gathered the information from what you were taught, your values and your beliefs, to put the blame on another. And that has been the concept within this society. When things don't go my way, there's someone else to blame. How is it someone else to blame when it's your heart or your feelings, your emotions, your thinking, the way you were influenced, your training, your programming, which has brought you to a limited situation that keeps you from forgiving, that allows you to hold grudges? Remember, it's you not them. They have moved on. This is what it means where if you continue to hold on to those feelings and way of thinking, you will suffer within yourself while you look and see the other person going on happily, and you can't understand why are they so happy. Well, because the way they've processed things, situations, issues, is totally different from how you're processing it. So all you know is to feel depressed based on what you've experienced with another, if not another, within yourself. Oh, this car being broken down is the reason why I'm feeling this way. The car is material. So everyone coming to this world, into this illusion, different purpose. Some people are here to be your challenge. Some people are here to be challenged. Some people are props. Some people are stand-ins. Some people are extras. And then there are some people who are stars. Okay? So, let's talk a little bit about the heart chakra, shall we? Okay. So, let's talk about what is the heart chakra. Based on Google research. I mean, you can buy a book and do your research, but let's talk about what Google has to say about it. Okay? Now, the energy of the heart chakra starts in the center and expands through the chest. This chakra connects the lower and upper chakras, acting as a bridge between earthly matters and higher aspirations, which is motivated by love. Your fourth chakra is responsible for moving love throughout your life. Now, for those who don't know what chakras are, they're energy centers. It's an energy that expands from the center of the body, which aligns with your spinal cord. Those are energies that expands out, okay? Which also help in forming your aura, which is also an energy that forms around you that is not sensitive to seeing with the physical eye, unless you've had certain spiritual awakenings, which is a part of your gift to be able to see those energy centers let's say, in order to see those energy centers in the form of colors, waves, they're more like vibrations. So, of course, I won't get too deep into chakras right now, but I just wanted you to understand, if you've seen the video before this one in regards to the mind, the mental state, the crown chakra, I explain it there as well. So, what blocks the heart chakra? What blocks that heart energy, that love energy? Okay, So, for example, if your heart chakra is blocked, it can affect your love life. Things like stress and emotional pain, usually caused by bad memories, old programming, emotions, and or overthinking, can block your heart chakra and make it difficult for you to form and hold on to healthy relationships. Okay, so I don't want to delve too deep into that as well, but just to give you some general information about the heart chakra. And the reason why I don't want to delve into certain things in just one video is because, it's about piecing things together. I'm trying to give it to you as I have received it. And not necessarily you're going to receive it exactly like me. I'm just stating how, I'm breaking things down. And this was the way I had to understand things or understand things for myself, by breaking it down and researching it piece by piece and really analyzing it to the core where, oh, I feel that. I see that. I hear that. I know that. I am that now. Where I get it. Where you can really say you get it. Okay? So we see how our lives are pieced together. A lot of us just think we are physical beings. And based on our influences, training, what we were taught, programming, and values and beliefs, you have people who don't believe these chakras or energies because they can't see it, they can't feel it, they can't taste it, they have no idea of it. All they know is that they exist. Sometimes things happen in our lives to allow us to perceive otherwise. And just know that what you perceive is your perception and not the other person. You can't make the next person believe and know what you know. They have their own experiences to help them come to an awareness for themselves. They have to be enlightened for themselves, whether it involves you coming into their lives, planting that information or that seed is planted. Doesn't necessarily mean they get it, but just because you plant it, it's just been planted. It has not grown and sprouted within them yet. Okay? And for my level of awareness is based on, how I've come to know things in my life just through things being planted, and then later on it's sprouting, and then I'm like, somewhere in my life, it was planted. I remember bumping into someone, or I remember having a situation, and sometimes accidents can bring about an awareness or an enlightenment. Trauma, that trauma which stimulates you emotionally, that brings about certain feelings and thinking. Yeah, so you have to consider all of your tools when coming to explaining your theories, your assumptions, your presuppositions about situations. And when I say situation, doesn't necessarily have to involve another person. It could just be a situation that happens at that moment. Whether it's in your car, in your house, outside, on a mountain, under a tree, in your sleep. It can happen at any time in your life to help you perceive what is what, to even come to understand your chakra or your heart energy, your crown chakra, your mental energies. because these energies or vibrations allow you to sense things. These chakras are energies, and they are alive. And just because you can't see or you think you've never experienced, let's say you may call them feelings. I feel a certain way because these, your heart chakra, your crown chakra, they open up to allow you to sense. And whether you sense them through thinking a certain way, you hear it a certain way, you feel it a certain way, you see it a certain way, you taste it, whatever. It's all your experience and what you're perceiving to be true for you. So only you are the judge for yourself. You can change the perception of what your life is now. You can change that. How you feel about a thing, how you think about a thing. You can alter your reality just by how you process through your thinking and how you feel. By understanding how your mind and emotions work. By also analyzing the influences, training, programming, values, and beliefs that you were taught. It's all about opening your mind, opening your heart unconditionally, and not being so judgmental, but really understanding how a person come about to their thinking and feeling in regards to how they react or why they act, how they act a certain way, when they act a certain way. What are they reacting and acting to? All right, people. So that's all I have for you today. If you have any questions, comments you would like to share, please leave them below and subscribe. Tell others about this fascinating journey. And we are on this journey together. We're piecing this together. So even what research you have encountered, please share them below in the comment section. I really appreciate you because I do not claim to know everything. Everything I bring forth here on this platform, I do my best to do the best research. I do my best to share my observations and analysis. I do my best to even bring forth some opinions, but just know everyone has an opinion. Doesn't necessarily make it a fact. It's just an opinion of their own observations, analysis. It's their hypothesis and their theories. Doesn't make it true. All right? So just know that we are all on a long journey. But it's a short walk. All right, peace. Stay blessed. And I hope to see you again.